Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Late Night with the POZcast. I am your host, Adam Posner. Thank you for joining us on another night of fun and shenanigans. I thought it'd be awesome to give everyone a break from all the craziness that's happening in the world. We have a great lineup for you tonight. First, coming up, Yankees strength and conditioning and performance coach for almost 14 years, Coach Dana Cavalea. We have Joe Mullings from the Mullings Group. We have Cher Jones. We have a couple of special guests for you as well, and musical guests, my man from Merrick, Ben Goldsmith. But first, let's introduce my co-host, Mr. Shaun Hervey. Shaun, what's happening, my man?
What's up, guy? How are you?
Are we really doing this thing again?
We are.
We are.
I mean, yeah, I think we had a lot of fun last time. It just makes sense to do it again. So
it does make sense again, but I wanted to elevate it. And listen, I'm missing something in my life. I know you're missing something in my life.
Missing a lot of things.
And I don't know if Coach, I see him in the green room right now. I don't know if he could see this, but I'm sitting in my Shea Stadium seats. And I told him when we had our conversation that I'm a Mets fan, and I know he's not going to hold it against me because in our hearts, we are American. We are baseball fans.
We are.
Right?
We are. I'm very curious to hear his thoughts about what's going on with this MLB stuff.
Let's bring him in here. Let's give a proper welcome to Coach Dana Cavalea. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, guys. How we doing over there?
Awesome. Good stuff. So quick intro to everybody. Coach Dana was a strength and conditioning coach for the world champion New York Yankees for 13 years. Led them to a world championship in 2009. And that same year, he was awarded the Nolan Ryan Award, given to the top strength and performance coach in Major League Baseball. So first question for you, what is the criteria to winning that award? Do you actually have to have like a deadlift competition against the other coaches? Or what's the criteria for this award? Is it voted on by the players, by the peers?
Least hamstring pulls.
Yeah, exactly, right? No, it probably should be based on that. But no, it's based on overall, it's voted on by your peers. Obviously, you have to have their respect. And then number two, your team's got to be in contention, right? You got to be a playoff contending team. And number three, your players have to perform. So when you put all that together, you get a nice award that you put on your parents' mantle back at their house, and you see it during holidays, and they show their friends every opportunity they get. So that's how it goes down, and that's how it works.
Awesome. Well, Coach, thank you so much. And I was telling Shaun about our conversation. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking baseball. I told you my passion for baseball as a sport, how much I miss it. And I can only imagine how much you miss it. But let me ask you, first and foremost, are we going to have baseball this year? What do you think?
Yes, let's hear it, man.
Well, if I'm a betting man, I would probably lean towards no. And I'll tell you why. Yeah. It's just getting late in the game right now. And here's what a lot of people forget is how long it takes a player to actually get ready to play. In like adult softball, you get there, you do a couple arm circles,
couple of stretches,
a couple of rotations. You're eating a 7-Eleven hot dog on the way to the game. But in the big leagues, it doesn't work like that. You have to be ready. And, it takes a lot of time to get these players ready, more so the pitchers. So if you think about it right now, a lot of these pitchers haven't been throwing. They don't have the reps. They don't have really any sort of endurance built in their arm. And especially, you could be home right now and throwing bullpens in your backyard, which some of the guys are doing.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that they would be keeping in shape after all the $40 million a year.
Well, yeah, but here's that's a whole nother situation. But just think about it. There's a difference between throwing in your backyard and then competitively throwing, and that's what spring training is really used for. The hitters are usually ready in 2, maybe 3 weeks. The pitchers full 6 weeks of spring training,
and it's a cadence as well for the pitchers, right? Getting their body into the rhythm of starting, warming up, cooling down, getting back into it, right?
It's finding your arm slot, it's finding a feel for your pitches. Believe it or not, even though these guys are pros, they could always hit in a box this big for the most part, but in the big leagues, you got to hit in a box this big.
Yeah, so, and you got to hit the curve.
Yeah, and if you miss, the hitter's going to smoke it over the wall. So there's a very small margin for error in the big leagues, and that's why even the best of the best, they need that time to get a feel and to get prep. So I don't think they're going to play just because it's late. Players are contracted, and this is what I was getting at when it comes to the money. People say, hey, you know what? They're making 50, 100 million, 200 million. That's the guys that you know about. But there's also a lot of young players that are making $500,000 a year,
Exactly.
which again is still good money. But don't forget, these guys have a very small window. 3 to 5 years is pretty much an average. So even if you make, 2.5 in your career, you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
You got to stretch that out all the way till you're 80.
It's not a ton of money.
It's not.
Plus agent fees. And you and I talked about most of these guys have 2 houses. They have wherever they live, in the off season, and then their other house. There's a lot of expenses there, fees to the agents. It's sad, man. I have hope, right? I have hope that it's going to happen. I really, really do. But you're right, man. We're cutting down to the wire. So let's put our good energy out there and let's talk a little bit, about, your career is absolutely amazing. Real quick. Yeah. How did you make it to the majors, man?
Well, I was an underperforming player. So I found a really interesting loophole in that whole equation, and that, usually as an underperforming player, you never get to see the big leagues. You never get to touch the big league field or diamond. But for me, what was cool was I had a passion for development, and I had a passion for training myself as a player. And I found that there was actually a career path out there where you could train yourself and train others and develop talent. And it's called coaching. And I became a professional coach, not a guy that gets a weekend certification or a guy that,
You went all in.
Loses his corporate job and says, I'm a coach now. I was a coach from the beginning. And I just really enjoyed that. And I had a couple great opportunities. I interned. I worked for free a lot. And I caught a couple good breaks. And I put myself in position. So it worked out. Fastest way to the big leagues. That's what I say.
Was there an interview process for that? Or did you, just by interning, you were able to climb the ladder? Who'd you interview with? The 2001 you said, right?
Yeah, so let's go back to 2001.
Yeah. Dude, who'd you meet with? Recruiters? I know this is just what we do, so it's very interesting to us. Did you meet George Steinbrenner? Did you meet who'd you know? Who'd you meet?
Yeah, let's hear some George stories.
Yeah, George was a tyrant, but I was hired just like any other player. I was hired by Brian Cashman, had a major league contract, for the duration of my career. And, you negotiate with the GM just as if an agent or player would. But as a coach, I was negotiating my own deal. So it worked out, and it was a great experience. And George Steinbrenner was an interesting guy. He was definitely he had people that loved him, and he had people that didn't love him as much. But I want to say everybody respected him for what he built and who he was and what he stood for. And one of my favorite memories of him, I got 2. I'm working with Bernie Williams, and he's doing these wrist curls real fast and sort of getting himself prepped to hit. And George comes over and says, "Did you tell him to do it that fast?" I said, yeah. He goes, "He's got to slow down. He's got to go slower. He's going to get hurt doing it like that." And so that was one. And then the next is we just signed A-Rod, and he's on the elliptical. And George comes in the entrance of the weight room, and he's got his hand up like this, and he's walking towards Alex, and on his hand is a World Series ring, and he's just staring him down. And he says, as he gets closer, he goes, "You see this? You see this, young man? That's why we brought you here, to get more of these." And it was wild.
That is
so while we're on the George Steinbrenner thing, right? And I'm going a little bit ahead because I definitely want to talk about what you're up to now, but I definitely have a couple of baseball questions in between.
Yeah.
So is there one key thing from George that you take into your off the field coaching practice?
Well, the biggest thing is that everything matters. So George spent, believe it or not, and people think this is crazy, he's building a world championship contender. He's got all this money on the field, and where did he spend a lot of his time? In the parking lot, making sure that every car was parked in the spot that they were assigned to, and that every car had a parking pass that was registered to that car and to that spot, and that it was in the spot that it was supposed to be in.
That's amazing.
Most people wouldn't think that an owner of that stature would pay any attention to the parking lot, but that was where he put a lot of attention. And I've seen him air out security guards if he found a car that was in the wrong spot.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Was there a rationale? What exactly was it? Do you have any idea?
Well, I think it was sort of keeping everybody honest, and it was saying, showing his involvement from the bottom all the way to the top, not just sitting upstairs like a lot of owners and a lot of people, in leadership. They get comfortable being the big dog, but they don't do the little dog things anymore.
You got to clouds and dirt. You got to be in the weeds, right? You got to show your team that you could do the same thing and roll up your sleeves. So let me ask you, growing up and even now, who's your baseball team?
Well, listen, I grew up a Yankee.
Who do you think he's going to say? He can't not say the Yankees.
That's a fair question.
Yeah, well, I will say this. So the Yankees, definitely, because I grew up watching them, number one, and number two, they paid me. So that's 1 and 2, and some of my closest friends and players have come out of that organization. But my favorite National League team, believe it or not, is the LA Dodgers, because I love going to Dodger Stadium and watching a ball game when I'm out west. So that would be my National League team.
I was there once, and it was real cool with the sun going down and everything. Yeah. So a couple baseball questions here. Favorite American League ballpark?
Well, outside.
Not counting. Well, you have Old Yankee Stadium and New Yankee Stadium, so we're going to take those both out of the equation.
Yeah. A park that I really enjoy. I enjoyed Seattle. Safeco Field was really cool. That was my favorite park, and my favorite city was Toronto.
That dome is terrible to play, and I don't think the players enjoy playing up. And they get the turf toe. It's not a fun.
Yeah, you know what though? I gotta say, there's publicly that's the word that's on the street, but it's actually a good place to play because it's such a controlled environment, and many environments are not like that. So, it's a mixed bag. The turf definitely beats you up, but there's some positives too.
Couldn't they fix the turf though? Couldn't they bring in and update it? I know
there's new turf technology.
I know
there is. You know what happens?
I'm saying, why can't they fix it?
They the one thing that Toronto has that like the old Veterans Stadium
and really hard turf.
Yeah, it doesn't have that, and it has dirt around the bags. So that's a good thing. But what happens with turf is your legs just get real heavy. Yep. It just so it feels like you played 2 games instead of 1, and over the course of 3 days of playing there, it feels like you played 6 games instead of 3. So
how does that work, right? If you play for the Blue Jays, right? I mean, that's got to take a toll on you all season long. There's got to be a little bit different strength and conditioning regimen.
Well, there's a lot more recovery involved. A buddy of mine who played with Toronto, he played with the Yankees. His name is Homer Bush. He was actually one of my first friends in the big leagues. He spent a lot of his career with Toronto, and he said that beat him up, and he feels like it led to a lot of injuries later in his career, beat his hips up, beat his body up, but pretty good.
We got a question from Gabe here. What about going out to Colorado? I don't know how many times interleague you went out there. About the thin air. How does that affect training? How does that affect the players?
I just remember getting out there and getting to the ballpark early one day with Andy Pettit, and that was sort of our routine. We'd go to lunch, we'd go to the ballpark, and we'd get to work. And I remember being out at Coors Field, and we get in our workout clothes, we walk out to the field, and we run literally to center field, and we were exhausted. And we felt like we were just high as can be, just based on, it's like you couldn't get enough air.
Yeah. There's some athletes that can't play there. I don't know if you remember, there was it was a Steelers cornerback. He's actually an analyst on the NFL channel now, I think. Ryan Clark, he has some sort of condition in his blood cells that wouldn't allow him to play at that elevation. Basically, he couldn't breathe at that elevation. You're a mile high stadium. So he played. Yeah, I mean, I think he played one half of one game, and they thought
that's
the guy was going to
crazy.
pass out and die. Yeah. So he could never ever play when the Steelers had to play in Denver.
That's insane.
It's wild, man. I mean, you get dehydrated real quick. You're pounding water, and the next thing you know, you're thirsty again, and you don't even have to take a piss. So it's crazy. It's just sort of wild what's going on with your body. And I just remember getting there. One time I felt like my calves were going to explode. It was like compartment syndrome I was experiencing. And as soon as we got to Texas after that road trip, I was immediately fine. So that place can definitely play some games with your body.
Well, and then we talk about Texas, and you get in the heat in Texas too, depending on the time of year, right?
Any day, next to rather than the altitude. The altitude is no joke.
I can't even imagine. So some quick questions for you here, right? Hardest working player in Major League Baseball.
Well, I'm going to say a guy like, I have to say Andy Pettitte was a guy that worked like a horse. Definitely. I mean, just training him for so many years. We were the first ones out there at most stadiums. We were always working. And the thing with Andy was he was a guy where we were working him not just on the field, but we were working him all the time, taking care of his body, making sure that he was not having any sort of older player problems, in terms of muscle tightness. And, when these guys get older and they have to get out there at 38 and 40, 42, it's hard, man. I mean, think about yourselves, like the difference.
I'm 41. I can't even get off the couch sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, guys are competing at a very high level, going full throttle. So you got to keep the body primed and you got to take care of it. That's for sure. At that level.
Tom Brady still.
Tom Brady.
I'm 34. Yeah, I'm 34.
Yeah.
And, I can't throw a football anymore at all.
Tom Brady's workout routine and discipline, man. I mean, if you want to talk about an athlete, right?
The discipline's the biggest thing. I mean, guys, when they get late in their career, they don't want to be as disciplined anymore. They're tired of being disciplined, a lot of players. And again, you're talking about high levels. When they get back into regular society, they're still more disciplined than the average person. But it takes a toll on your body, it does.
A guy like Brett Favre would just show up and drink beer, eat hot dogs in the offseason, come in, throw 45 touchdowns, lead the league, and then there are dudes like Tom Brady who are just so systematically just.
And here's the thing: a guy like Brady, he may not tell you this, and we may never hear it to be true, but he may not be the most. Believe it or not, the most secure guy in himself, in his ability, and his talent.
Absolutely not. That's why he went sixth. That's when he went 6th round pick, 299. He almost lost his job to Drew Henson at Michigan.
He had something to prove.
Right? He had something to prove. That chip is the biggest chip.
But hear me out with this, right? What gives him sort of that grounding and that strength is, and what lets him know that he's better than everyone else is not just the stats. It's saying I'm so disciplined, I'm so well trained that gives him the confidence. And I've seen it in players for years. So it's not that they don't have confidence. That just adds like another level to it. So,
and my wife is Giselle.
Yeah,
it kind of helps. Who's the nicest player in baseball that you've had the opportunity to work with, aside from Homer Bush?
There's a great guy, and again, he's not a household name at all, but he's a bullpen pitcher with the Yankees. He's still there. His name is Adam Warren, and he's a reliever. Believe it or not, he's got over 10 years, I think, in the big leagues now, and he's just a guy that you really wouldn't even really know, but he's always there. He's got a lot of service time and just a super nice guy. So he's, a guy that, again, you wouldn't really know. And one of my other sort of first friends in the game was Jorge Posada, who's a great guy too.
I saw him at the Big Apple Circus once with his kids, and I made a point to not go up to him. I was with my wife, and I said, you know what? He's with his kids, and I know if I was with there's a no-fly zone, right? You have to give these guys a little respect. They're real players. I mean, they expect you to come up to them, but I said, you know what? We're in New York, celebrities everywhere. Let Jorge have time with his family.
Well, there's nothing worse than when you're out to dinner with these guys, and you get the person that comes over and says, hey, listen, I hate to bother you. And I always say, but I'm going to bother you anyway. I hate to do it, but I'm going to do it.
So let's talk about what you're up to now. Well, actually, no, I got to take a step back. You won you're with the Yankees 2009 when they won the World Series.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? I mean, you are part of the team. You are on the team. I mean, you're essential to the success for that, right? Take us to that moment. Take us to what that feels like to win a fucking World Series ring.
Yeah, well, I grew up in New York, so I watched all those championships in the late 90s. I was, finishing up school. And then, to watch those celebrations and watch those players who were there win was amazing. And then to do it in 2009 and win with a lot of those same players, it's amazing, man. The champagne is the best tasting champagne you'll ever have.
Can't imagine.
You party the whole night, and
you party with Peter?
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, the whole team's there. I mean, I have a image of my buddy Mark Teixeira, who's a very straight-laced guy, at a club in Manhattan, One Oak, and he's got 2 bottles just going like this, wild double fisting, and it was an amazing night. So it just continued that night into the ticker tape parade, going all through downtown Manhattan on a float.
Can't even imagine.
Getting a key to the city from the mayor. I mean, the whole thing was out of control. So it's hard to top that. That's the hardest thing. After you win a championship, you want to win more, and it's hard to top that.
That's awesome. So let's fast forward 2020, right? You're off the field now. Tell everyone what you're up to and who do you work with and how you taking all that baseball knowledge off the diamond into the boardroom.
Yeah. So, I wrote a book, Habits of a Champion, and then I started writing these kids books, as well. So it's a part of a series called Champion Kids, and it's about personal development for kids. So I do a lot of writing. I write almost every day, and awesome. I'm always working to turn out books. Yeah. And then I do a lot of corporate speaking, and I also do a lot of corporate coaching. So when you put all that together, you're doing a lot of coaching and you're distributing your coaching methodology through a bunch of different mediums, which is a whole lot of fun.
That's awesome. And Coach, we're going to have a much longer conversation when I have you on the full podcast over the summer. I really want to dig into your career and I want to understand really those mindsets that make a champion. And we'll dig into the book a little bit and we'll discuss that. Coach, where could folks find you? Where could they connect with you? Where could they learn more? Where could they find out about everything Coach Dana Cavalea?
Yeah, DanaCavalia.com. That's home base. I do a daily blog there. You can get to all my social media, YouTube channels, the Real Coach D at Instagram, LinkedIn, all those good things that we have to interact with our people.
So what I want to do is with every guest that's coming on the show right now, we're going to talk about silver linings. I want to end the show on a good note, right? We've all been going through shit one way or another. It's just been the most insane, absolutely insane, mind-boggling couple of months. But leave us with something good. What's something that, might have looked bad on the surface happening with you and your family, but you turned it into a positive and really flourished from it?
Well, I mean, I look at everything, when there's opposition, there's opportunity. So you have to look at things through whatever lens that you choose to look at it through. So for me, I look at what's going on right now is I work right through it. And that's the way I coach people, right? So we keep our eye on the prize and we look at what it is that we're looking to build. For me, every new kids book I could write, that's putting good out there. Every new book I could write, every group I could speak to is putting good out there. But listen, we've all failed. We've all dealt with shit in our life. I've had some businesses that have failed. I've had ideas that have failed. I've failed. But the one thing you have to realize is if you want to have success, you have to have failure. They're a tandem. They're Batman and Robin. And that's how it works. So if you're afraid to fail, you're also afraid to succeed. So you basically are fucked. There's no other way to say it.
I mean, it's such a hard concept, though. And I failing has definitely been a cornerstone of my life and my career, which has gotten me to success. But I find that people are really scared to go out there and push themselves. So, when you're working with somebody in a corporate environment, how do you push them there?
So, you know what I tell people? I tell them this, and it's a little whacked out, but it's good. I tell them, listen, everybody in this world, right? They're going to end up in a box at some point in their life, and they're insecure. Right. So when we realize that, hey, wait, I'm a little insecure too. And he's a little insecure too. And she's a little insecure. And we all have a termination and expiration date. Right. So if we know that, we're all even. So don't be afraid of anybody. Don't be afraid to take opportunities. Don't let the names of people fool you, and intimidate you. Just go for it, man. We all have an opportunity to be great. It's just a matter of if you want to seize that opportunity or not.
Awesome.
So that's it, man.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk soon. I'm looking forward to catching you this summer. Everyone, Coach Dana Cavalea, and we'll link him up. Thank you so much, Coach.
Take care.
That was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
We kept Joe Mullings waiting. I know it's a South Florida thing here, so let's wait a minute. I got something special.
Do his jiu-jitsu in the morning.
I know, late for him. Hold on. Let's do this the right way. Let's do this the right way.
Starting to get into game face, guys, now. Joking and all the other shit on the side for now. Ooh, boy. 1982 is the last time I wore underwear. Creepy. We got to see with Josie. Fucking. It won't be a long conversation, and I won't keep you guys really long. saying the wrong thing in a corporate setting. Having a huge thoracic cavity. And it was my first time. I was a virgin. Wait a minute, are we recording? You fuck.
All right, Joe Mullings, everybody. Joe the effing Mullings reporting from his. I think is that your safe room? Is that your safe room?
It's a safe room. Yeah.
It's my wife's office. Mine is being painted.
Oh my God. Well, everybody who doesn't know, Joe Mullings is literally Shaun and I's. He's our fucking spirit animal. I mean, this dude has stories for days. And today we are not going to talk about recruiting. We are not going to talk about recruitment marketing. We're not going to talk about engagement pods. We're not going to talk about any of that shit. We're going to get in and talk about who the real Joe Mullings is, right? I don't know. But this dude is the man. He is somebody that I personally has inspired me over the last couple of months. And I will tell you this, in all seriousness, Joe, going back to that conversation we had, it was literally the first week into this whole COVID thing. And you and I spoke for about an hour, and it was an inflection point for me where I could have went one way or another. I could have let this shit really get to me. I could have let this shit take me down, but you gave me the best fucking pep talk ever. And I turned it around and I doubled my business. I'm focused as fuck, quadrupled down on the content. And here we are today. So Joe, thank you. Just want to thank you for that.
Love it. I remember that conversation. I think it was in the conference room, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And, you are the captain of your pirate ship. I remember you sent me an image that you went on Amazon and you bought pirate flags and you literally turned the whole freaking office into your pirate ship. What's with the pirate mentality? Let's just get to the pirate mentality.
So there's a couple angles there. One angle is, sometimes when you're spitting the truth in a radio station way back when, you had to move your little boat, your ship off the shore outside government grasp and speak your truth. So, that's one. And the other side is live fearlessly, be vicious, and go take what is yours, not somebody else's, but go take what's yours.
Go get it.
Yeah, and that's what separates the men and women from the boys and girls, right? In this PC world, right? We got to change that up here. So we're gonna park all of our recruitment chat for another show and another time, right?
Yeah, no cares.
Right, and that's another thing. So Joe. Let's get personal here for a little bit, right? You're an international man of mystery. You're also a little open book at times. So let's get to the real Joe Mullings here. Tell us the story of how you met your current wife, right? Current. How many do we have here?
1, 2, 3.
God bless you, man. I was joking with Shaun before. I said I love my wife. I love my current wife. And if we ever part ways, that's it. I don't think I could ever get married again.
Done. What? I'm done. Dude, done. Joe, you're a better man than me. I'm done. One and done. No way.
Yeah.
Let's share this love story with us, please.
No, we met on the last episode of Seinfeld. I was in Orlando. I wasn't supposed to be there for business. She was in Orlando. She wasn't supposed to be there for business. She was grabbing a glass of wine. I was grabbing something to drink. And we just started talking. And I think it was 8 weeks later we were engaged.
It was quick.
It was a good deal. It was the best deal I ever got 21 years later.
That's insane.
That's such a Joe Mullings thing to do.
It's just act quick. So let me ask you a question. Do we think we find like this guy, we talk a lot of stuff, positive stuff behind your back, Joe. I mean, Shaun and I literally are your biggest fanboys. And we said we need to figure out how we could tap into some vulnerability. And I said, we have to do a show after 8:00 at night. We have to get Joe on a show. Look, he's tired. He's tiring down. We're beating him down. So we're going to play a little game. You want to play a little game, Joe?
Sure, I'll play along.
I'm going to switch the mic over to my co-pilot.
Okay.
Take this one over.
All right.
So, Joe, you would consider yourself, say, an expert med tech, right?
Recruiter. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to play a game. And this is called Medicine or Startup.
Okay.
And you tell me if the words that I'm saying, if it's a medicine or drug or a startup.
A startup company? Okay.
Startup company. Let's see how you do.
Let's go.
All right. Start off easy. Prevacid.
Drug.
Abilify.
Company.
Drug. In Vigo.
Oh shit. Drug.
Startup.
Ah.
Ativan.
Oh, I've taken tons of them. Drug.
There you go.
That's
Pravica.
Oh, there's more.
Pravica?
Yeah, I got like 4 more.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
country
keep going.
right next to Hungary. Pravica.
Yeah. I think I actually have the fourth rated podcast in careers in Pravica.
You do.
What is it? What is it?
Slovenia. I'm top 5 in Slovenia.
All right, good. Good for you. That's great. Cypro.
Cypra.
Yeah.
Drug.
It's a drug. Good job, Joe. Busy.
Oh, that's got to be a startup.
Okay.
Or
it's a startup. It's a startup.
Or it's a sex toy. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. I mean, it could be both, really. I think Adam would know that one.
It's a delivery system for a drug, right? Yeah.
Right. Mobic.
Company. Startup.
Drug.
Woof.
Belinix.
Oh, God.
This whole show.
If it's a company, the marketing department should be fired or given a raise. Drug.
Startup.
Shit.
Last one. Sevilla.
That's a town in Italy, right? Spain.
Maybe. Probably.
Maybe it's a drug.
It's a drug.
All
There
right.
you go.
Not terrible, but not great.
Terrible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got more right than you got wrong.
All right.
Let's get this. So Joe's in the great state of Florida. I mean, Florida does whatever the fuck they want. I mean, the memes and everything come out of Florida is absolutely incredible. But, let's talk about, what's happening in your office. Was everyone like gung-ho to come back in, or were there some people that were a little hesitant? Like, how did you manage that?
So we got 32 people in the company. I got to check. Half of them were there. So my full Dragonfly team was there the whole time. My head of operations, the two guys who support my desk were there. They knew better.
You're gonna make them walk the fucking plank.
And then my other 3 ops people were there. And then some people have called back in and said that they think they want to work from home half the time, and I'm totally supportive of it. And I would have never been in my entire life in my previous 30 years.
Wow. I mean, it's you're a changed man. I mean, this is the new Joe Mullings.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? So qualifier, and again, I don't want to talk business. They crushed it March, April, May, and June is a record month right now.
Wow. Now, I have the clip, and I'm not going to show it, right? Where I remember it was the 3 of us, and we were about a weekend. There's no clip right now for that. And you said something pretty incredible, that you were going to take out a loan on behalf of your employees if you need to help them through it. Did you have to use that money?
No, but the money's in an account if we have to draw off of it.
Got it.
Yeah, and just to bring everyone up to speed here, we were about a week or 2 in, and we had Joe on the show, and he said to everybody, he goes, listen, if I have to put up my own personal collateral, I don't care what it is, whatever I have to do. My employees are my family, and I need to make sure that their families are taken care of, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. This isn't free money. This isn't a grant. This is a loan. This is to bridge it over to them. We'll figure out with each person individually how we're going to pay it back, whatever it is, and we're not going to leave everyone hanging. And that really sunk in with me, and I think that really just speaks to your character, and really set an example for everyone else out there. But why do you think? I mean, I love your opinion on this. There's these mega corporations out there that have billions and billions in profit, and all of a sudden, literally a weekend, they're like, "Shit, we're laying off 30% of our people."
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's got to be bullshit. Trimming the fat.
Well, you know what? Here's something to think about. There's a great book called, and you guys know a little about my history, On Killing. And it's a fantastic book, and it's the psychology of killing. And I'm going to give you the short version. It's easier to press the button to drop Enola Gay than to take a knife and shiv somebody straight to their face.
Yeah. So if we extrapolate that analogy to these big companies, right? It's a lot easier for them to just trim the fat, right? You know, they're not doing.
Redlining. It's redlining. They get a printout and they got to redline people. And look, it's a lot harder to shiv somebody face to face than to drop a button, hit a button, and kill. I don't know what it was, millions of people.
Yeah, I mean, there was somebody on that plane that literally just pulled the
analogy. And if you do want a good book, seriously read on killing. It's a fantastic book. It's not necessarily about killing. It's about behavior and the psychology of proximity to decisions you make and how you treat people.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
right. But it's also about taking orders too, right? There's a difference there.
Well, yeah, you know, it's on taking orders, but it's on taking orders of shoot that person when you see him. And there's so many stories coming out of on World War I out of the foxholes where they stare at each other and they didn't want to kill each other and shoot each other. And there were more guns left and found unfired because people in general are good people and they can't always be brainwashed to kill people.
That's interesting. We'll link that book, after. But going back to the family, man, you got what? You got three boys?
2 boys, 18 and 15. My oldest is going off to UF in August.
That's insane, man. Does that make you feel old?
Oh my! No, it doesn't make me feel old. It makes me laugh at myself 17 years ago when somebody said, "Be careful, it's going to go fast." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
Right.
It went so fast.
I can't even imagine that. I mean,
Shaun, it goes fast, and you got a girl, right, Shaun?
I have a boy.
A boy, dude, it goes fast. I was going to say a girl because I couldn't imagine having a girl leave my house right now.
Oh hell no.
No. But yeah, buddy, it goes like that.
My daughter's turning 8 next week, and I look at her sometimes, and it's so fast. I'm still looking at her as that little girl, that little baby, and she's already out and about. She's doing things. She's got these play dates all day, and I'm like, where did you go? So those moments when she still wants daddy to sleep with her in bed and cuddle with her at night, I don't miss a minute of that.
No,
right? I don't say no to that. I make a point of that, and I think now, you know, all this time that we have now, everyone's talking about it, but we're gonna look back, maybe 6-12 months, whatever it is, when we go back to whatever normal that is. Let's not forget about this time, right? Like, remember this time, because you're never going to have it again. And I have friends that have kids your age, Joe, and they're like, these kids, I've never had this much time with my 16-year-old kids playing games together and board games and being together as a family.
Yep. I mean, it just, and, you know, it doesn't mean that you should not, you know, again, it's everybody's got their own personal prescription, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't work your ass off and travel and do all your stuff. It's just that, you know, and again, I don't go for the quality quantity argument either. It's just that, you know, grab it when you got it and log those things in, because I'm not sad about anything that I made or didn't make. I was just like, I'm just very thankful for the memories of the first 18. And I'm looking forward for the balance of them.
Yeah.
Thoughts on, you know, when people say empty nester, and I don't think it's a dirty word too, but like you're gonna miss these guys, right? Like, you're gonna miss them. But how far is University of Florida?
It's pretty close. It's not far. You know, you can drive. If you drive, you'll drive up there. It's 4 hours or so.
No, that's not too bad at all. So, you know, we're talking to everybody about, you know, these silver linings and things where, you know, let's talk personal silver linings here. Give us some of the good stuff. Give us some of the stuff where maybe it could have went south early on, but you turned it around or went in the right direction just because that's the Mullings tribe energy.
When? In what?
In the last couple of months during COVID.
Oh, yeah. So look, when it hit, look, I'm a vet. You know, I went through 2000. I went through 2008. I started my business in, you know, pretty much 91, 92 when the economy was in the shitter. You guys have heard the stories. I've traded in my 401k. I've mortgaged everything. Life insurance policies, all that shit in order to, you know, keep everything going. So, you know, when it hit, we locked everything down. We immediately went across the board and had conversation with every employee explaining that, you know, we've got to share the oxygen tank across the board. We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to review it every 30 days. We called up all of our suppliers and explained to them we're going to try and continue to keep them whole, but please understand And, our firm's got $40,000 a month in rent. I mean, and so you're taking up a big piece of real estate with, people who own a building who therefore have their own kids and have their own mortgage. So you have to respect the supply chain. But, we went after it. I have a great head of operations. She locked everything down. The team was people stood in and said, reduce my pay to make sure we don't lose anybody. I mean, and so we managed through it. There's headhunters listening here, so I don't want to be a dick about it, but
that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, we closed out 800,000 in March. We closed out April 7 something. We closed out May 550, and right now we're at 465 on the month. So we're right at our numbers where we need to be. But I only say that because the team has not missed a beat. They've just locked and loaded. We've got a great communication cadence, so
it's amazing how none of your clients went, they put any sort of freeze on.
Oh no, 50% of our business went on freeze.
Oh, they did. Jesus
Christ. Oh yeah, we had big. I can't say who it was with, but
no, of course
we had a couple big ass projects with billion-dollar companies. The good news is it's going to come back in 90 days because it's all med tech healthcare. I'm not with some of our brothers and sisters who are in the event business or hospitality or some other stuff.
Right.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So let's shift gears to Dragonfly, right?
Yeah.
Dragonfly Studios. I mean, I Dragonfly stories. I always tell people when I'm talking about Joe Mullings, and I don't know if you like this analogy, and I'm like, literally, he's the Anthony Bourdain of recruiting, and I mean that in the best way possible. Anybody who has not checked out Joe's content, and I say that, not just from the attitude and the personality, but it's about the way he tells stories, right? And it's taking something that's boring to 99% of the people on this planet, med tech, and you're turning it into something not just interesting, but exciting and shit that we actually want to see, which is incredible. Was there that key point where you said, you know what, I'm going all in on media and content?
Well, we got a hint of it way back when we had a big contract with Google and Johnson & Johnson. That really was the birth of that 5 years ago. But there was aha moments about 3 years ago when we really went all in. But the True Future docuseries, which, runs us out of pocket. I've gone public with this, almost $500,000 an episode.
Wow.
When
$38.
Huh?
My show costs $38.
And you're getting the deal of a lifetime.
I don't even have a show. I just hop on the bandwagon with him.
Oh, you're gonna pay, bro. Don't worry.
So we just we decided to go all in, and we went after, got some of the best talent in the industry. You've been down, and you got to get down again. You got to see what we finished.
Once my parents are okay with that.
The whole world is built around storytelling. The whole world is built around media. The whole world is living out loud on social platforms. Yeah. We have access to the coolest tech and the coolest people and the coolest CEOs in the world. So why wouldn't I just want to document it? And that's what we do.
I love it. And my wife's sitting over here. She's coming in on the next segment, but I was telling her, I go, that's what I'm doing. And I don't hide the secret from anybody. That's a model I'm following, Joe. Why not? I have access to decision makers, heads of HR, talent leaders too in my industry. I'd be stupid not to. We have the best canvas in the world. We have a free platform.
Yep.
Pretty much to do it all.
Yep.
Yeah. And people don't get that. But some people, listen, it took me a while to get to this point. My mom always said I have a face for radio, right? It took me a long time to get to this point where I could put myself on TV, put myself out there and make some content. But, Shaun and I, we see what you're doing out there. Maybe with my SBA loan, I'll hire, my own little D-Rock camera crew to follow me around, and we'll change the game here.
I think you should. I think this was genius. Whichever one of you came up with this, it's absolutely genius. And I've heard in some, outlier clips, Shaun strumming the guitar and singing. My request is to have him drop a song or two.
Are you gonna? You actually get to request the actual song, Joe.
Yeah. Let me know. I can.
Sure. Okay. I'll tell you what it is.
You tell me what it is, and I'll learn it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Joe Mullings, tell us a joke.
Oh shit! Tell you a joke. Oh my gosh! You did not prep me.
Yeah, that's hard.
I'm not joke boy. I'm not joke boy.
Hey, joke boy.
I'm not joke boy. I'm not joke boy at all.
Jokers.
There's nothing in there. There's nothing in the Joe repertoire for jokes.
No. Shoot.
Especially when you put on the spot, Adam. That's just.
What?
Come on, man. I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't
do
do
that
it.
Thing you do. Do it. Do it right now. Do that thing you do. Right. I mean,
do it. Do it. You tell us a joke, Adam.
I have no jokes that are appropriate for this day and age. We're not.
Exactly. I am not. Yeah, this is LinkedIn world. This cannot happen.
Show him that birthmark, Joe. Show him the birthmark. Go ahead, show him.
Exactly. So let's ask Joe a couple of questions that we don't normally ask Joe. Joe, favorite book?
Papillon.
Who's that by?
Couldn't even tell you. I read the book, not the author.
I love that too. What's your favorite movie?
What have I watched so much? So of course, The Godfather, and Shawshank.
I mean, Shawshank.
Great movie. Love Shawshank.
I'm gonna think of a good one there. Favorite alcohol?
I just got into bourbon. I just got into bourbon like a couple weeks ago in the weirdest way, and of course I've gone way over the edge. I've gone all in.
We'll do that one.
Way over.
Does Mr. and Mrs. Mullings, when you turn on Netflix, what are you guys watching these days?
We don't watch. I'm sorry. We don't watch TV.
So what do you guys do?
Okay, we're late night. Okay, Shaun went there. Shaun just.
Come on. Be a grown up, Adam.
She's a huge reader. And I'll usually just I'll sit sit next to her on the couch and check emails and answer emails and
you just work.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Let's bring in your boy Burt Miller over here.
What?
Burt Miller. I'm not bringing him into the actual string here. No. We're just bringing up his comment there. Burt saying Godfather, best business book on the planet. Is that
best business book? The Godfather. 100%. If you read that, it's like going to Star Wars and realizing it's the Bible. And you watch it a different way. And the same thing, Bert's right. The Godfather is one of the best NBA books of all time.
I've seen all the movies 1,000 times, and I've never read the book. And that's fantastic advice too. I mean, the majority of movies are books. There's a fair share, and it's a different interpretation. It's a different.
There's only so many stories to be told in this lifetime.
Right. That's fascinating. Yeah. Shaun, I never even thought to read the Godfather book.
And you guys know the Pink Floyd Dark Side.
Yeah.
Smoke a joint, put Dark Side of the Moon on. And then
when the MGM lion roars,
you got it. You know,
it's interesting. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, right? I mean, I'm Floyd and Zeppelin. Those are my two pillars of classic rock, and everything else kind of falls in either direction of that. That's the way I was brought up from my hippie mom and my friend Josh Bennett. When I was 14 years old, he busted out his brother's mixtapes, and I got to experience, Dark Side and Animals, and all the Zeppelin albums, and really got myself into it.
Best entertainer of all time. Who?
Entertainer. I'm gonna go Steve Martin. Entertainer. You didn't say musician. You didn't say band. We didn't say
Steve Martin. Really?
That's the guy who sold his soul to the devil. He's never made me laugh once in my life.
Really?
No.
Not a fan.
No.
Freddie Mercury, best entertainer of all time.
Oh yeah.
Freddie Mercury and Prince.
Prince is fantastic.
Yeah, I would put them equal, but Freddie would have to win it because Freddie had a personality that was interesting that I want to go to dinner with. Prince, I would probably beat under the table.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, just artistically.
Yeah.
Both of them. You two apples, apples and oranges, two totally different.
Yeah.
But just what Prince did everything to. I forgot what award show it was that he did a cover of someone else that was supposed to be performing that night while that band was there.
No way.
And that band completely just, they did another song and said, like, I am not going to fucking do this song right now.
Yeah.
This is a terrible question, Gabe, but I want to ask it because I wouldn't do that. If you had to, I don't even, why am I asking this, Gabe? Would you rather?
This is great. I love these. These are the best ones.
Would you rather cut off your hand or your foot?
Hand. All day long.
Because then you can't walk.
What?
You
can walk, but you have a limp.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you have to go hand.
Got to go hand.
But which hand?
Which hand? Right.
Left.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a righty, but some things are with the left. You know, I mean, you got to.
Interesting. I have the same problem.
I'm ambidextrous in a
couple ways.
I'm monodextrous, right?
Joe, guilty pleasures, right? Like, you know, when you want to splurge a little bit, what's something that Joe Mullings likes to spend money on? Not counting your family, your kids, but for you.
Joe Mullings doesn't spend money. He just makes money. That's what he does.
Is that like a Chuck Norrisism?
Yes, exactly. There you go.
Oh shit. Going to dinner. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, I've been super blessed. So, you know, it's not like, yeah, it's just no splurging. You know, yeah.
I love it.
What's the
let Shaun go.
What kind of cars are you driving around?
I got an Escalade. I used to be a car freak, so I've been over the years XJ12, every Beamer model, jacked up 5. But once the kids came along with hockey and soccer, went to the Escalade, and since he's going off, I'm going to slide over to S Series Benz. We're going to eyeball a new body style this year, so we're waiting in August to see what it looks like.
There's a reason we're all in recruiting here. Let's not, you know. Joe, what was your first tattoo?
Oh god, so embarrassing. Like a yin and yang, like that big, up in down in Miami Beach, actually. Miami Beach at a tattoo festival.
Where'd you get it, on your lower back, Joe?
No, I was always taught. I was like over the shoulder here, like, you know. So yeah, it was the gateway.
Yeah, it was a gateway. My first one, and I don't really show it off, but I have my whole leg over here, and it was so funny getting my first tattoo. You know, I'm at the shop, and I'm standing literally on the table, and I thought it was gonna be this little, you know, Japanese koi fish thing, and the tattoo guy's like, full leg, go big or go home.
I always tattoos are like boob implants, always go bigger.
That's it.
I'm thinking of my next one once we get back to I mean, Florida, you could do anything you want, and they probably didn't shut down anything in Florida.
No, they did. They shut down the tattoo parlors.
They have their limits, right? They have their limits there.
Yeah. No, you know, look, I think he managed the state really well.
He got a lot of shit for it.
Well, yeah, of course, because, you know, it's easy and it's appropriate at times to over-index towards safety. There's nothing wrong with over-indexing, but also you can't move too far away from common sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that our governor did a super job of managing.
I think he did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. On the other side, up in New York, train wreck. But you know,
disaster.
But let's put politics aside here, and I want to leave things.
No, nothing to do with politics. It's just decisions on managing entrepreneurs and business.
I do not disagree with that. So, Joe, about 3 months ago, we talked about the other side. I think we're getting there. I think we're almost there, man.
Yeah.
I think we're almost there. And thank you for guiding Shaun and I and being a beacon, being that, you know, that lighthouse for us there. And we'll be down in Florida soon, and we'll get the gang all together. And just again, how much we appreciate you and thank you for everything, man.
Yeah, is Shaun coming this time? Is he going to be able to get out of the house?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna bring his wife on in a minute, actually, and we're gonna ask her.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna get it.
We're gonna run.
Jay,
have you met Joe? Here, bring over.
You gotta meet my wife, Joe.
All right.
See, you want to see what a good wife does? Check this out. This is the good wife.
Oh, that is awesome.
Hello.
Yeah, you're being summoned.
How are you?
Good.
So
I've heard a lot of good things about you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
You gotta take the headphones out.
Hold on. Let me get this. Hey. Hello. Now we're making it a party. Let me take that out of the way. Welcome to the POZcast, ladies. This is how we do it. And I got to ask you, Shaun, would you like to introduce your wife to everybody?
This is my wife, Giovanna.
Hey.
Hi, Giovanna.
So this is a man that I always share sexy photos of.
Yeah, he has a man crush on you.
I told you that story, right, Adam?
Please tell us the story.
Yeah, I texted Joe the next day. We're sitting in bed and she's like, "Can I ask you something?" "What's up?" She's like, "Who is Joe Mullings and why do you always share sexy pictures?"
I was like, I think you've shared more sexy pictures of him than me ever, like on our paper.
I'm pretty sure Adam has a man crush too.
Yeah.
It's not so much a man crush. It's more about an inspiration and people that keep us, on the right track. So, Joe, I know it's past your bedtime. I know you're up early. I know you got this pirate ship to run. So, I want to thank you. We'll be in touch and we'll be down in South Florida all together soon, or get you up to. Well, no one's coming to New York.
Yeah, I'm coming to New York. Why would you do that?
We're going down to Florida.
Come to Florida. Bring everybody.
Joe Mullings, everybody.
Thank you, Adam. John, ladies, have a great evening.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
So now the fun part, right? Everyone who's hung with us for a bit, now it's time for a little fun and games. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe that I was able to get our next guest host to bring us some fun and games. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I get hold on, I got to tap in here. Hold on. We're going to play a little game. We're going to play the Newlywed Game, but we need a host here, and I am extremely proud to introduce our guest. I don't know how I was able to get him. Some of you may know him as Joseph Allen Maldonado Passage, but most of you know him as the Tiger King. I am proud to welcome Joe Exotic. Joe, you have no audio. Joe, I mean, it's prisons. Is there no audio in the prison? Oh my God, Joe! Don't say it's so, Joe. We gotta get the audio here. Oh my God, is your mic on the bottom? Should we hold up signs? You see the little gear thing there. This is live TV, everybody, and this is what happens, especially when you're dealing with a correctional facility. They don't always have the best Wi-Fi.
Can y'all hear me now?
Oh my God, Joe! Joe is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow, this is incredible, Joe. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I mean,
we really had to pull some catch strings, no pun intended, to get me to be able to get to film this. So I'm so honored to be here, Mr. Poz.
I certainly appreciate that. So listen, I know that you spent the majority of your life, on the outside of the cage, man. And I need to ask you, man, what is it like being on the other side of that cage?
Man, it's been a humbling experience, but it's been good for me for a couple different reasons. A, you got to learn to eat your food fast. And so I've been able to scarf my food down really fast like the cats do. So I've had that. And like the cat world and the animal world, if you chase down what you want, it's yours for the night. Prison's sort of the same way. You chase it down, it's yours. So it's been really good for a man like myself. I'm very popular. Needless to say, a lot of people want to touch the king, if you know what I mean.
I bet you are, Joe. You behaving?
Yeah.
It's fun. I'm having a good time right now. Besides COVID, everybody's trying to give me COVID, but it's really fun.
Is that what they're trying to give you in there?
They're trying. Everybody's trying to get close to the king, and I gotta hit them with the stick, but it works.
Right, but I know. Listen, anyone who's a fan of the show knows that Joe's always packing that 45 on your side there, right? Like, what are you doing right now? You don't have your gun. I mean, obviously you're in jail, man. So how are you protecting yourself?
Guns. I've been pumping a little weight since I've been in here. So it's been I can't take my 45s, but I can take the guns.
I love it, man. That's absolutely incredible. Have you made a lot of friends in jail? I mean, I know you're popular. You're kind of a celebrity. Like, have you made some new friends?
I have. And the warden keeps trying to give me some nudie pictures of himself to put on my wall because he wanted to replace Travis. Rest in peace. You know what I mean? But it's sort of awkward, but I sign pictures for them. I sign pictures for the jailers. Everybody wants to take me home for the night, but I got to stay in confinement.
I love it. So we're going to get to the game in a little bit, but we have a special announcement to make. For anyone who's a fan of the POZcast, we're coming up on our 100th show, and I'm really proud to announce our 100th guest. Here's our 100th guest, everybody.
Oh, that bitch, Carol Baskin? What? Oh,
yeah. Adam, how could you do that?
Joe,
why did you book her? You very clearly you're united with Joe, and you go ahead and you had the book Carol Baskin.
Wait a minute, hold on. No, that was a mistake. I apologize. Let's tell everyone the real truth. I'm just messing with you, Joe. You know I'm a bit of a.
I was gonna say, because during our conversation, you did not tell me that.
Here's what I did tell you. I am proud to announce that the real Joe Exotic will be the 100th guest on the POZcast. Everybody, I am thrilled. Look at that. Look, I think I captured your essence here.
You did. You know, they took the sequence from me, but now this orange really brings out the blushes in my skin tones.
It does. Do you miss your, which cat are you with over here? What's her name?
Excuse me now. Which cat is that? That one's name is Sasha.
Yeah. Sasha
the cat.
Sasha the cat. Yeah, she was my favorite. I had to kill her though. You know, but that made the show and all this other stuff.
I love it. So let's get to the fun and games. And for everyone joining us, we're going to do something pretty awesome on the podcast today. You know, we like to have fun and games here. And my man Joe Exotic was kind enough to join us. And I had to pull a few strings here, but we're going to play the Newlywed Game. So Joe, why don't you set it up for everybody and tell us the rules of the game? All right. So let's hear the rules of the game. And I want to make sure I write them down so I got it correct. So first and foremost, I'm going to ask a question to both couples. Did everybody get that? Question to both couples. And the husbands are going to answer the questions first. And the question, they're going to answer what they think their wife is going to say. Okay. Everybody on the same page here? All right. And then I'm going to ask the same 5 questions to the lady next. Whatever their answers are, the husbands are then going to turn around their cards and see how close they got. All right. Now, couples, how long have y'all been married, first and foremost? Shaun?
Almost 10 years, 9 years.
Okay. Oh, no, sorry. I saw a little confusion there, so I'm a little worried already. So
not a good start, Joe. Not a good start.
It's okay. Now, Mr. Poz, what about yourself?
We just celebrated 10 years. In fact, the last dinner that we went out to was our 10-year anniversary dinner. So we're
right. Well, good. You're already on the right step. No hesitation at all. So that is impressive. All right.
Absolutely not. All right. Let's get this on the road.
Gentlemen, are you ready?
So you're asking us first what the wives are going to say, and we're going to write it down.
Yes. And then the roles reverse, I'm going to ask the wives the same questions, and y'all are going to reveal y'all's answers.
All right.
You got it. All right. All right. First and foremost, gentlemen, Shaun, Adam. Yeah. Who said I love you first? We're going to start easy. A softball question, underhand pitch. Shaun, you look a little concerned. Like, this scares me. Like, well, shoot, tomorrow the attorney's offices are open, so this might not go well.
I do know this.
All right.
Okay. Question number 2.
No, we're going to go one at a time here. So now we're going to see what the wives get.
We're going to go one at a time. All right. So Miss Poz.
Who said I love you first?
That is a tough one. I remember when it happened, but I'm not sure who it was. I'm gonna say me.
Well, that was the only softball question we're gonna get, guys. So this might be very awkward here in a bit.
This is a bad idea. I think this is a horrible idea.
Let's go to the other side.
All right, Shaun. All right, Miss Hervey. Wait.
No.
Come on,
okay.
Asshole.
All right.
I was going to say 100% that guy.
Okay, 100%. All right, ding, ding, ding. All right, Team Hervey's up 1-0. 1 cat to no cats. All right, number 2.
Well, now we're gonna ask. Now it's the ladies' turn, and now you ask a question to the ladies, and we're gonna. All right.
All right, here we go. Are we ready, ladies? Cool cats and kittens. I don't like that term, but I like to say cool cats and kittens. All right, number 2. What is your husband's pet name for you?
Oh, that's easy.
She looks confused. I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
And if we're looking for a new sponsor, Miller High Life, the High Life of beers, and it is the only ghetto beer that I drink.
I saw it brought in earlier when I was in the green room. Well, it just took a turn worse. Coors.
All right, Shaun and Giovanna.
Water.
All right, Giovanni, you're going to go first this time.
All right.
The question was, what? Sean.
Sean's going to answer it.
Yes, Sean, you have to answer this. What is her pet name for you?
No, what is your pet name for her?
What's my pet name for her?
Yeah, pet name for her.
Babe.
Yeah, lame, but
Oh my goodness! They're up 2 cats to nothing right now.
Yeah, we are.
And it was original.
It's true, but we're original too, and it's Babe for us too.
Yay!
Oh my goodness! Well, I can see why y'all host the show together. This is amazing. This is just mind melting.
You basic.
That is so generic, guys. I call both my husbands Babe. Okay? Both of them.
Joe, what's going on there, man? I mean, I first of all, I'm sorry for your loss. I know you lost somebody really close to you. But you know, how you hanging up there, man? How you doing?
You know, being in prison, I'm surrounded by men all day. It's been pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
So we call those silver linings on the podcast. So that's
You got to look at the brighter side. So it's turned out all right.
All right, back to the game here. Now we're gonna.
All right, number 3. So we're going back for these are for the guys, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go back and forth. You know how that
All right, here we go. What would be your partner's last meal?
Last what?
Last meal.
Meal.
Meal. MEAL. Meal.
Meal. Not.
This is your last meal.
My-
That'll be your last meal.
Oh, okay.
All right,
That's
I got
easy.
it.
Oh,
Okay.
what would be mine?
Yes, Sean, your last meal. What would be your last meal?
Oh, okay. That's easy. Here's the easy.
Oh, it's serious here. Look, lots of thoughts. Can't say babe on this one, guys. You're in trouble.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to start with Giovanna this time, since last time Sean cheated.
Sean literally held it up.
All right, Giovanna, what would Sean's last meal be?
Buffalo chicken.
Buffalo.
Some sort of buffalo chicken.
No, we got to be specific.
Oh,
Buffalo.
Oh. Okay,
I'm the host. I make the rules.
Buffalo chicken wings.
Can I show it?
You can show it.
Yeah.
He even said the same exact thing. Buffalo chicken.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's pretty good.
Anyway.
Pretty good.
That is crazy. That's crazy talk right there.
All right.
That's three cats for them, right?
3 cats for y'all's 1 tiger.
Yeah.
All right, Mrs. Paz.
Well, I would say a juicy cheeseburger with fries. If you got, what do you say?
I can't see. That works for me, Sean. I'm the host. Yeah, I make the rules. 2,000 points for y'all. Okay, here we go.
Let's go for the lady. Let's go for the ladies now.
Okay. All right, ladies. How does your husbands like their coffee or tea? I see some confidence brewing. It's like a nice pot of black coffee. I see it just stimulating and everything. Percolating.
Percolate. Time for the percolator.
That's right. Perk is power. Tony.
All right. I think it's our turn to go first.
It is y'all's turn. All right, Adam. What did your wife say your way you drink your coffee or tea is?
Black with just a little bit of half and half. No sugar. I get my sweetness elsewhere.
She seems confident. With cream. We got it. That is correct. Oh, my goodness. We got 3 kitties to 2
My
tigers.
baby knows me.
Yes, she does. All right, here we go. So as it stands right now, we got 3 kitties to 3 tigers. Sean, for the lead. And not eternal dominance just yet.
Iced coffee with caramel.
Dang. Hey, she said milk.
Wow.
She said milk. I don't know if I can count this. Hold on. Let me go to the judges. All right, we'll count it. I got the word. We'll count it. So we're good. So we got 4 kitty cats to 3 tigers. All right.
3 tigers.
Now, no pressure here, but Adam, if y'all miss this one, y'all are most likely going to end up divorced tomorrow because y'all are going to lose. Like, it's just is what it is.
As I just told Joe Mullings, though, I will never get remarried. I would never get remarried.
That's not happening twice.
Don't ever say never. Travis told me no, too. Just saying. All right.
No one tells Joe Exotic no.
That's what I'm thinking. I load them up with crack. I'm sorry. I can't say that on here, but they just there I am again. That's the producers telling me to shut it up. All right, here we go. Number 5. Now y'all got me chuckling in here. I'm a little worried what's going to be the text message after this. All right. What celebrity would you want to be stuck on a desert island with?
So we're asking the wife. Yeah, what she's going to say. Okay.
Yes, what she's going to say. You got to write down her choice. Ladies, be very careful. Don't say Joe Exotic right now. It's going to make me feel very uncomfortable, okay?
Oh, I know. Wait, I'm writing. Okay.
You're writing what I said. I don't even know my own answer.
Yes, you do.
I bought this clipboard for an interview once, and I thought I'd only use it once, and I've actually used it a few times now. And I just want to say, if there's a clipboard sponsor out there and looking for a podcast, your logo. All right.
All right. Now, we're going to let Shaun. Well, I don't know, actually, because what's going to happen here is, Shaun has 4 kitty cats. Adam, y'all have 3 tigers. So who wants to go first? The pressure's going to be. Oh, damn it! Get that bitch off the screen.
Sorry, that's a technical issue.
Gosh darn it! Oh my God,
friend, Mr. Palmer, your friend Jonathan was asking.
Oh yeah, he was trying to get on here before the call, but we told him Carol Baskin was already spoken for tonight.
All right, so here we go.
All right, I'm gonna start with Adam.
Well, she's gonna say the celebrity or whoever that she wants to click on, and who's she gonna say?
Wait, so that's her celebrity crush type thing, right?
Wow, you might want to be careful how you answer that. Eddie Vedder, ooh, Pearl Jam himself. What is the answer for the tie? Oh my God, we have a tie! Oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. We have 4 tigers to 4 kitties, and for the finale, Giovanna.
I don't know if I'm going to get this right.
You better get this right, because if not, we're gonna have a sudden break tide like dance off or something. It's gonna be awkward. All right, for the win,
John Krasinski.
Oh no!
Are we tied?
We're still in it.
We are tied. And guys, I did not make another question up, so I'm gonna have to make one up on the fly. Yes, this is my favorite tie. All right, here we go.
All right, hold on. This is going to the wives.
All right, yeah. Well, I got to be careful. Make sure the kids are watching from the side view here. I got to make sure I stay nice. All right. What is your husband's shoe size?
Look at that question while we're mulling that. You see that question there?
Oh.
Can I be honest with you?
Yes, of course you can.
I think you're a much better actor.
Oh. Sorry, Jonathan. Suck it.
A little LinkedIn banter here for everybody. And for everybody that doesn't know, I mean, listen, Joe Exotic is here, but Joe has another friend by the name of Justin Reynolds who's freaking awesome. So everyone should go follow him and check out his stuff. It's absolutely incredible, and I love this dude. So make sure you tell your friend that.
Hey, and make sure you check out Jonathan Palmar's too, because he really is incredible. He's my Robin. I'm not going to call him Batman, but he's my Robin.
Oh. All right, so what are we up to here?
We're tied. So we're asking shoe questions now. What size shoe? Okay, we're asking shoe size now. And all right, here we go. Who wants to go first?
And I cheated a little.
It's my show, so you go first.
All right, Shaun. What size shoe does he wear, Giovanna? Don't give that look. Y'all are kicking each other the table.
9.5.
Oh man, I gotta go to the judge's ruling on that one.
I mean,
It's different for both.
It's different for both.
Yeah.
What? Okay, I'm going to give it to you. This is the only technicality I'm going to give you this one, all right? Just because I think the Posner family is going to miss it. Move on with the segment. Here we go.
I wear an 11.
Stop. I know.
I'm going to have to give the title and the championship to the Posner crew. Forget it. I'm the top by half a point. Confident behind victory.
That was absolutely incredible. I mean, that was really special here. So let's talk a little bit. Joe, thank you so much. I mean, I want to talk about your what you can about your case and everything, right? I think that you got a raw deal, right? Raw is that meat that you're throwing into that tiger cage, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I got a raw deal too. I do think that, but me and Trump are pretty tight. So I think I'm going to get out of here sooner rather than later. And that B. Carol Baskin, I'm going to get my farm back because you saw pretty soon my zoo was just given to her in the court of law. But I think that's why everything's
go there. I wasn't going to go there, but let's talk about that for a minute, man. You built that zoo, man. You built that zoo, and that was your kingdom. And your arch enemy, Carol effing Baskin, came in. I mean, what could you do behind bars? What are you going to do about this?
My fans, my support. I got the best little tiger cubs in the world. They're just coming out of the woodworks and taking care of me. So, I think between them and their incessant use of President Trump's pardon power, I'm going to get out in time to get my zoo back.
I hope so. And what's happening in the courts right now? Are you appealing?
Oh, we're appealing all day. As my good buddy Nelly used to say, all day, every day. Yeah, every day. We're going to get out of it.
I mean, we know that you're also an entertainer yourself. I mean, you are Joe Exotic. You brought the show and everything, but you're also famous for some of your videos and original music there, right? Oh, leave us with a little ditty.
Here, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty. That's all I got, guys. I can't take any more because copyright laws. I can't get copyright my own self.
Joe, I want to thank you. I want to thank your buddy Justin. We'll link you up. And listen, man, you stay strong. You stay strong.
I'll do my best.
We have your back, and we support you.
We're here for you, Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Exotic, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Wow, Shaun, that was crazy. You didn't think we could get that caliber of guest, could we? You didn't think the podcast could be-
I didn't think you had it in you. I mean, you're like the 5th best podcast in Czechoslovakia or some shit?
Yeah, no, it
Slovenia.
is in Slovenia, man. All right, let's take things up a notch, and it's time for a little musical break. I'm going to introduce my next guest. He is somebody that you may not know now, but I guarantee you'll know him after this, and this kid's going to be tremendous. I had the pleasure to have him perform in, my backyard, and he's going to be on the stage at Madison Square Garden soon. Let's give everyone a little taste here.
It was just a Friday night on this plane riding tunes, but the weekend's coming, baby. You won't be seeing me anytime soon. You'll never see this face again.
Ben Goldsmith, my man, welcome to the podcast. How's it going, dude? So
good. How you doing?
I could hear you. I could hear you well. So for those of you that don't know, Ben, what grade are you in?
Well, I just finished 8th grade, like today.
Did you really finish it? Does it even count? Does it even count? I know that you're not in school right now.
I mean, I don't even know, honestly.
You don't. No one even knows. And here's a little story. So when I first met Ben, he was playing at this charity thing at the school called Robbie's Run. And I think you were, in 3rd grade?
Yeah, I think I was 3rd grade or 4th for sure.
And I had this crazy idea. I said, we're having a pool party at our house called Posner Palooza, and I want this kid to play. He was rocking out Green Day like none other. And I said, you know what? Let's do this. So here's a little flashback to about 5.5 years ago to Ben playing in our backyard here. Look at that. Look at the hair, man. You still have that guitar?
Yeah, I still have that strap. I do.
Do you have a name for her?
No, I actually don't. I think I should though.
Do you name your guitars?
Honestly, I've never really named my guitar. I mean, my main guitar, like my ES Les Paul, I call it Star because it's kind of like my star in a way. Like I use that the most, and it's kind of like my tool to work. So that's the only guitar I really named though.
That's awesome. So Ben went from, playing covers. I mean, he absolutely demolished Metallica and Led Zeppelin in my backyard. I mean, no one was expecting that. That was incredible. I've had the opportunity to watch him play live a couple of times. I mean, this kid is going to be amazing. Ben, who are some of your musical influences?
John Mayer, B.B. King, Ray LaMontagne, Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, like a lot of people.
That's awesome, man. And you and I were talking. We were doing the tech here, trying to get everything set up, and we worked through some issues. And while we were doing that, you and I were talking about the idea of silver linings. And I know you had so much you were looking forward to this summer. Touring, getting the band together, and just really just getting out on the road and playing for everybody. And we're not really able to do that now. We will soon. Yeah. So what have you been doing? Talk to us about all the good stuff that's come out of this time. Being stuck with your parents and two sisters.
So I mean. Yeah, during the quarantine, I've been really just trying to build my catalog of original music. Yeah, I've been producing my music and engineering it too. So, yeah, just building my catalog of music and trying to get some inspiration from the whole coronavirus thing.
I love it, man. So we're lucky enough. We're going to hear one of your songs tonight. What are you going to play for us?
So I'm going to play a song called Sweet Henrietta, and it's about like just trying to not be stuck in things you don't want to be stuck in, and going through like transitions in your life.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Goldsmith.
Well, it feels like I'm trapped in a bubble, in the world so far ahead. See, I'm dreaming of life out of good arms, so I'll catch up with all the rest. Let me go, sweet Henrietta, set me free, I can't do your bound. Let me go, sweet Henrietta. It's your world, and I want out. When I get to a place, I will call you, but you may not like what I say. But I may fail with static, 'cause love don't like my way. Let me go, sweet Henrietta, set me free, I can't do you bad. Let me go, sweet Henrietta, it's your world. And I want out. Same old thing, my natural safety stays off for the sunlight. Let it in, better than, yeah. Let me go, sweet Henrietta, set me free, I can't do you bad. Let me go, sweet lady, it's your world, and I want
Wow.
Thank you.
Ben Goldsmith, everybody. Ben, where could folks find you? Where could they hear more amazing Ben Goldsmith music?
Yeah, so on my you can follow me on Instagram at Ben Goldsmith Music. I'm really trying to build that right now because we're almost at 10K. My Facebook at Ben Goldsmith 2, and YouTube at Ben Goldsmith as well. So yeah, check all those out.
And I think I saw on your touring calendar, are you getting back on the stage soon?
I mean, with coronavirus, I mean, it's kind of hard, but I mean, some places are kind of lifting restrictions, so we might be playing some like restaurants and stuff or like bars, hopefully in the future.
Do you think there's a chance I may be able to get you back to the pool this summer?
Sure, yeah.
Shaun's close by. We're gonna get Shaun over there too. Shaun, you have anything you want to ask Ben as a guitar player yourself?
No, I'm just kind of like dumbfounded at just how good he is, like a technical player for like being 14 years old. It's insane. The way that he's jumping in the rhythms and some of the cadences that you're working on and still being able to play in time and keep that. It's crazy.
Thank you so much.
He's crazy good. Ben Goldsmith, everybody. Ben, I appreciate you, brother, and I'll see you soon. And thank you so much for doing this. It means the world to us.
Thank you so much for having me on this podcast.
Awesome. Ben Goldsmith, everybody. He was our first performance at the Posner Pool, and he's the first musical guest on the POZcast. So there's a first for everything, my man.
Cool.
All right. Ben Goldsmith, everybody. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care. And speaking of appreciating, I also appreciate my wife, Alona and Giovanna. Thank you so much for joining us and coming on here. Maybe we'll do this again. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But we'll definitely have to get together for a proper dinner soon. Or at least you're always welcome to come sit in our backyard 6 feet apart. We could do that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good.
We'll absolutely be there.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So I'm thrilled to bring in our final, but certainly,
everyone.
I saved the best for last. And someone who absolutely inspires me with her content and everything that she's doing. Let's bring her on. Cher Jones, welcome to the POZcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Look how it's always so professional.
Wow.
That's the thing that I love. It's like makes us look like I don't even know what we call this. I mean, I shut my logo up over here. I don't want to mix up with my phone. I don't want to, mess it up. Cher, thank you for coming on. How's it going?
I've been enjoying the show, so I've been watching it as getting ready, because I didn't just wake up like this. I was getting ready for you guys. And I can't help it. So, no, but it's been fantastic. I mean, fantastic, all things considered. Every day's a new day. Everything's a new challenge to kind of navigate and move around, but I'm good.
We're doing well. So for folks that may not know you, I'd love to give a quick introduction. Tell us who you are and what you do best, Cher.
Okay, well, I am a corporate social media trainer, and I specialize in the personal brand for business. And so I teach corporate professionals how to grow a rock star brand on LinkedIn and use social media at work for work, because it's actually a thing.
It is actually a thing. We tell our wives this every day. They're like, why are you on that app more than anything? I'm like, it's work. I'm doing work. Don't judge me.
And it's like, no, your friends are on there.
I'm leaving this conversation. In trouble, Cher.
Sorry.
And Cher's incredible, but do people know that you also were a sports anchor, right?
I wasn't a sports anchor. I was a sports producer, and I've worked on television before. So I'm out of Toronto, so on the other side of the border, that locked off border. And I used to work in sports broadcasting. So I used to work for the Raptors for about 5 seasons, and as a pre and post game show producer. I've worked on television for a while. So this is like TV on my own terms. So it's like you gave me an opportunity to get all dolled up and ready for lights, camera, and I can use my own. Like, how cool is that? So I love it.
Let's talk about your show. I mean, it's and for anybody who's not checked out, Just Ask Share, Just Ask
Share Live. Yeah.
Just Share Live. And when do you air? Do you have a schedule?
Oh, yes, I do. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I love it. And that's a great technique, right, for anybody out there, is to have consistency so your audience knows when to tune in, same bat channel, same bat time, every week.
You make an appointment with that audience, and eventually they start. If you miss that appointment, let me tell you, your phone is going off. Like let's say we had technical difficulties, because they do happen. I actually had some last night, and I was getting texts like, "Cher, are you broadcasting tonight?" It's like, "Don't worry, I'm coming. I swear." Yeah. So. Yeah.
The audience needs it. And how did you start? One of them, and I talk about a mistake that I made early on, was not building or not doing a good enough job of building my community from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
What are some tips out there for anyone who's getting into this content game? I know everyone out there, it's the same thing. Everyone thinks they could be a real estate agent, right? But everyone thinks they want to be a podcaster or a live host.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say it starts with the community, and it's really not that easy. So what are some tips and tricks to really laying that foundation before you do anything?
For sure. So before I even had my live show, I used to do weekly Just Ask Share videos. So I've progressed from Just Ask Share to Just Ask Share Live. And one of the things that was really important for me is to really dive deep into the comments. So I would be, especially, it's much easier to follow the comments when it's in a video as opposed to a live video, because you're kind of answering them, and to go back sometimes it's kind of weird, but we make it happen anyway. But really to get back in there and answer people's questions, respond to, let them know that you appreciate that they're there. When people share my show, I'd go in and say, "Thank you so much for sharing this." And then the other half is the not about you half. So that's when you are going out and you are actually engaging in their content, not yours. So what I did is I pulled back on the amount of content that I was putting out there, and I put more effort into other people's content, because then it becomes that, "Bye, wives." Hi. So one of the things that I did was I really started to build the relationships, and the relationships, those are the people who are going to show up for you. I've got ride or dies. I can't believe it. I have like maybe about 10 ride or dies.
I have 2, and they're on here right now. I have 2, and Shaun's one of them.
But you know what? Over time, that's not bad this is your second POZcast live.
This is the second late night show.
The late night show, yes.
Yeah, I've been doing the daytime show for a long time.
Forever, exactly.
This is our fun show. This is an experiment. This is something, as we like to say in your Southern friends here, for shits and giggles.
Yeah, no, but I love it though. And like, I think that's what's so cool, is because while we love this tech and we're leveraging it for business, which is fantastic, to be able to do something where you're still loving the tech, but it has nothing to do with business per se. Like it's not your primary objective. You know what I mean? So
no, but there's a halo effect there, right? I mean, everyone always asks me, especially my wife, she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And I talk about it's a branding.
Yeah, it is.
Name recognition. It's putting yourself out there and being able to be a thought leader. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, right? You've generated clients from your show.
Absolutely.
I mean,
every single week, like it is something that is, whether there's a client a week, I can't say that, but I can say it definitely generates interest. It does generate clients, because, that's why we do this. But in addition to that, it's one of those things where as you show up over time, you're building trust and credibility with your audience. Yeah. And that is so incredibly important especially in these times, because even though these are crazy times, financially, I'm not worried. And I know that sounds crazy. I really am not worried, because I have so much confidence in my brand and my network that I'll be okay. Yeah,
I mean, we talk about that too. It's a lot about the power of the network. So let's pull back the curtain here, right? Yeah. And let's talk nuts and bolts here. how do you prepare and structure your show? As much as you want to share.
I don't mind. Sharing is caring,
Sharing is caring.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you yours if you tell me mine. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So what I do primarily is my ideas come at me based off of, just what comes up in conversation with my clients over the week. Sometimes I'll just be like, oh, that's an awesome idea. I got to talk about this. Or sometimes I'll have stuff that's just percolating, and it's all relevant and related to what I do in general. But so what I do, and one of the things I had to do was pull back the amount of time I give myself to prepare on my show, because what I'll do is I'm an over preparer, and the more time I have, so if I start preparing 2 days before, I'll use all 2 days to prepare. If I start preparing, which is usually about 3 hours before my show, like I'll look for things and I'll put them aside because I have different segments to my show. But 3 hours before, I have what I call a rundown. And this got easier over time because I'm on show, I've been doing it weekly. I'm probably almost on 50 now.
Awesome.
And the one thing that I've done is once you get a flow of your show, the tech gets really so much easier to use because you're so used to multitasking, because I'm literally directing, producing, and hosting my shows. I'm doing
that right now.
You get it. And you're moving
Gabe
things.
says he doesn't do any prep, and I'm like, Gabe, we can tell.
Stop it. But what I do is I already have my rundown. So my show I've kind of worked at the kinks of how I want my show to flow. And so I'm already thinking at my show all week long. And then I have certain, I have what they call in the broadcast industry is a rundown, and it tells me where I'm going next. And and I'm writing in my points. So I have everything. I've thought about it. I have the flow. And then because of how I created my graphics, it actually keeps me on point as well, because I literally have an agenda down the side. So I modeled my show after PTI, pardon the interruption. Yeah. And it's just, I love it. So,
and if anybody hasn't checked it out, I mean, it's incredible. And you and I were talking, when did we talk? Friday or Monday? I don't even know when that was.
It was last week. Yeah.
God, I mean, the days are just blending together here, but the amount of work on the technical side that goes into your show with the overlays, it's almost like a Photoshop file that goes into that. But when I tell everyone their podcast, right, there's some people that could wing it, and it's a very, very, very small percentage of people that could wing it. Even this show itself, right? This show is heavily booked, heavily scheduled. We have timestamps. We know when the guests are coming in. It's absolutely seamless. If I pull back the curtain here and they saw my spreadsheets that I have up, I have notes on each guest that we're going to get into. This takes work. But what you and I are doing right now is just pure conversation, because we're both hosts and we know how to do this and we know how to improv. That's hard. I tell people for the regular podcast too, ultimately at the higher level, 30,000 foot view, I want to take the audience on a journey. I want to take them on a flow. I want to tell the story of my guest and have a beginning, middle, and end. And I want to make sure that they're having something to take away from that. And if you don't prepare, if you don't do your research, if you don't know what the hell you're doing, it's not going to happen, and you're going to lose your audience.
Yeah. And the other thing too is because you not only lose your audience the first time, because they're like, you know what, this is boring, I'm out. That you also over time lose their trust, because every single time if you show up unprepared, like why would they click on you the next time? Like every single piece of content you put out there is a trust agreement with your audience, right? So the more you break that trust, is the less likely they're going to stop and scroll for you the next time.
Right. And you got to put in the work. Right. Yeah. And so Gabriel's asking here. Gabriel has a good question here. So first of all, big props over to Gabe, my man Gabe. He's got a great show. I was on it. You were on it. And he taught me a bunch of things, some technical things here about, I could do this now. I could pull you in, and, you're soloing over there too. And he taught me how to put videos in. But I also love the way he operates too. But he's asking, how could somebody really learn how to do all the technical stuff?
Practice, baby. Practice. What I suggest to a lot of people, like when I'm working with people who want to develop their own show, one of the things I suggest you do is broadcast into a private Facebook group. So you can just start practicing. You can play with the tech. You don't have to learn on the fly. You can just practice, get people and then you can just invite one person so that you have a group, and then they can give you feedback. You can just broadcast into that group until you get it, because there's certain things. And then it's like, there's a point where it's like over practice and just go and do, because you'll learn on the fly, because there's so many things that can go wrong with your broadcast and will.
Absolutely. I mean, just for example, our internet was wonky today, and I've been scared all day that my internet was going to go out. And halfway through our game show segment with Joe Exotic, my computer froze, but it was my local machine and not the internet.
No, it was the whole thing. So I saw that.
And I literally, my heart stopped for a second, right? But these are things you got to be prepared for. Like, and I always say, listen, if you have the ability to have a hard line in, right? If you can put a hard line into your computer when you're live streaming, that's gold.
Absolutely. And also your computer itself. So I use a gaming rig for mine because it's like if they're using, the amount of CPUs, like the amount of power required, like the processing speed required to really do some of the things I want to do, especially with my graphics and stuff like that, because I'm broadcasting out there, and if I want to roll a video, it's heavy, right? And then I have multiple screens up. So I'm literally like I got screens and then plus like peripheral screens as well. And so you want to be able to make sure that your computer can handle it. And especially something with the type of software I use, which is Streamlabs OBS. So that's hosted on the computer itself as opposed to StreamYard.
So it's a program on the computer.
Yes. So your computer has to be fast enough and to be able to handle the program, plus the fact that you're broadcasting. You have to also increase your internet. So the more guests you want to have on the show, especially if it's all wiring through your computer, you need to make sure that not your download speed, but your upload speed is a higher speed than average.
I mean, even I was telling before, doing the technical thing with my buddy Ben on the guitar, we had 2 half-hour practice sessions with aligning the tech, like trying to get music in is very difficult. I mean, he wanted to do a whole, I'm not going to nerd everyone out here. He wanted to do something with Logic and get his focus right going and everything. And it wasn't working well with StreamYard. The tech just wasn't there because StreamYard's not really built for that. And we went old school with basically a mic into his phone. But it's hard and you have to practice and you have to get it right. I've only seen your solo show. Do you do a lot of shows with guests or you do more of the solo thing?
I used to do, so my live streaming didn't start with LinkedIn. I actually started live streaming back in 2014 with what was called Google Hangouts on Air. So this was when YouTube Live, before they rebranded it to YouTube Live, that's what they called it. So if you remember, like Google Plus, that was a thing. And anyways, you could broadcast live to YouTube from your Google Plus account. And so I had a show with my cousin. She also worked in television, called the Lori and Cher Show, Hacking into Awesome. So we had, just like you guys, two hosts, but then we'd bring people on and we would interview them. And so similar format to this. And that got me used to using like a multi-screen setup and switching. So I was the co-host, but I was like the tech host. So she would lead it, which gave me that comfort of, okay,
here's some low tech.
Yeah.
Here's some low tech. I put my camera on a book and I could slide the book closer. There we go.
Look at that. Hey, you got to, you have to MacGyver this situation.
It is. It is. I mean, do you miss like doing like a show with guests on all the time?
I do. I have to think of another concept and where I think it's best suited for.
Let's workshop. You have Shaun and I here. We're half between the two of us. We're one good creative brain here.
Love it.
Where do you think, you're a student of the game. Everyone kind of has their niche, but where do you think the white space opportunity is for somebody like yourself, where you could come in and create something different, where you have the skill, you have the point of view, and you have the voice, but what's that theme going to be?
And that's the question that I have, because there's so many different, so actually funny, it's like, it just takes me a second for my brain to start percolating.
It's time for the percolator.
One thing would be really cool, and this is, I'm literally coming up with this idea as we speak. So let's say, because if I want to bring it back and I want it to add value to my brand in the sense of, I don't let this millennial looking face fool you. My Gen X knees will remind you every single time that this is a lie, right?
Makes us look good.
So at the end of the day, what I need to remember is right now, I don't have time for play business. Like, I need to be serious about what I'm doing right now as far as how I expend my time. So if if I were to make a more fun show, what I could do is, let's say, taking somebody through a brand transformation over 8 weeks. But branding is more than just what you articulate and your content on LinkedIn. What if every week, so I would be the consistent host, then I have a guest who's going through this brand transformation, who's committed to do the work, but then I bring in all these experts, maybe a mindset expert, to talk to this person, to give them instruction and have this 3-way conversation. So this is literally, guys, this is how I think. So this is like off.
Let's dive on that for a minute there too, because I like this idea, because you are an expert in this space. Let's say you almost had it like it was almost like a a reality show, a live stream reality show where you have 4 up and coming, hosts that are really all starting from the same point, and you're coaching each one of them. And say it's a 1-hour show, 15 minutes each, where they're giving you updates. You're talking about their show. You're kind of breaking down what they're doing well, what they're not doing well. And then you're bringing those experts to kind of help them out. Just an idea. What do you think, Shaun? I know you're playing with your cat before.
I know. The cat's an idiot. I hear him.
Why is the cat an idiot?
The cat was being aggressive. I heard. It's like, look at me, right? Pay attention to me. I did hear.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. Having multiple people come in and having them through different journeys. I think that's a great.
Look at that branding boot camp from Marcello.
I think maybe we should use the new LinkedIn poll feature to do a little bit of market testing and see if people. I mean, think about fans of your show. I mean, you probably have a lot of aspiring, streamers and casters on your show who might be down for that. I would actually be interested in watching that, because then you're becoming almost branded content on LinkedIn or elsewhere that you're streaming.
Right. And it's not all in my lane.
Social movement.
Like, it's just, it's cool because it's in and around my space, but yet I get to have fun with it because I get to host them through the process and kind of, bring people from beginning, middle to end. And it's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be just a brand transformation. It's like an internal trend. People want to transform themselves. So I don't want it to just be about business. Do you know what I mean? Like, but have a business slant, but it's just like, can we have a little fun in life, please?
That's the point of this show here too, right? We only do this twice a month because it takes a lot of effort, and I don't think our wives could really put up with us for much longer.
Yeah,
definitely.
But we tried something new tonight, right? We tried something new. I tried the game show. We tried the skit. We tried the live music. Like, I want to innovate, and I actually invited the new LinkedIn CEO, Brian. I'm going to butcher his last name. I invited him, and he actually wrote me a message. He's like, "Dude, that's pretty cool. Good luck."
Yeah.
So I want them to see the ability on LinkedIn that it's not just, look, LinkedIn's moving away from being, just a professional platform.
Exactly.
Right. And I personally think that they need to put more focus. What's that?
It's much more of a social platform now.
It is.
Much more. It's barely even business, really, when you really think about it. I mean, it's like people are branding themselves, but it's not just, hey, I'm looking for an account executive anymore. Yeah. Hey, like I went to this really cool trade show. Like that's what it used to be, just that type of crap, and like celebrate everyone's office, it's just so much more personal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much opportunity. And Cher, I think you and I were talking about it. The percentage of folks that do what we do is incredibly small. So there's a huge opportunity to have that voice and put yourself out there.
Yeah. And then if we go back to even what we were talking about earlier this evening in the show around that credibility and that trust agreement, that if you honor that trust agreement through your content, you will have people that support your content and see value in that content and want to share it and just support you as an individual, whether they get to know you. And then now, if you have, especially when you have a profile that truly articulates what you do and how you serve, what it does is it brings you top of mind that they can refer you out, and you build these relationships. And people, when you come up with content like this, people really do feel like they know you.
Yeah. I mean, you're taking them behind. I mean, listen, Shaun and I had our wives on.
Yeah. Right? I thought that was awesome. That surprised me. I thought that was great. I loved it.
Roll of the dice there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could have went south pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But we handled it. Like, and for people that don't know, like, we had a rough script for the show. We had an idea. I had a lot of faith in Justin. I've seen what he's doing. I mean, he killed it. He absolutely killed it.
We know
he killed a lot of things. Joe Exotic killed a lot of tigers, but he brought it. And sometimes you just have to, as Shaun said, roll the dice, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Like, what is the worst thing that could have happened tonight? Really?
The internet goes out. That's it. The internet craps out.
That's it.
That could really be the end of it. So what? I'm gonna ask you a fun question here. Okay. Who's your dream guest? Who would you love to interview?
Wow, that's a great question. It's funny, and this is not my answer, but it's the first person that came to my head. It was Gary Vaynerchuk, and I don't know why, because he's not the person
He's everywhere. That's why.
Yeah, I think so, but he just came to my head, and I don't even think about him that much, so I don't even know what's going on.
Oh, he haunts my dreams.
Who would I love to interview? I mean, dream guest would probably be Barack Obama. Like, how cool would that? But okay, here's my dream guest, Trevor Noah.
Oh, he's awesome, and he's killing it lately with his content right now is
crushed. It's
logical. It makes sense. It's digestible, and I think everyone could understand and relate to it.
He's so smart. And so he feels like he's so approachable. So I love Trevor Noah. I also love Hassan Minhaj from Patriot Act. I don't know if you guys watch. I love him too. He's on Netflix, and it's just he's so smart in his delivery and his passion, and really it's that eyes wide open kind of content with a smile,
Yeah. I like I'm a John Oliver type of guy.
Yeah.
Who inspires you as an interviewer?
I also, so there's I really do I think it comes back to Trevor Noah too. I've seen him in so many ways, and I've even watched, there's this guy who talks about charisma and body language on YouTube. I can't remember his name right now. He's a channel all about that, and he'll take celebrities and
send me that offline. I want to check it out.
Yeah, I will send you the link. It's awesome. And he always is breaking it down. But the one thing with Trevor Noah is that he has this ability to interview people with this likability, even when they are at complete ends of the spectrum.
Right. I mean, he may not actually like them.
At all. At all. At all.
He did a great interview with Tommy Lahren.
That's exactly who I was thinking of, yes. And it was so respectful.
Yeah, it was a great conversation. It just goes to show that, you could have totally different mindset and ideologies, and it doesn't have to come through in a way where you're yelling at each other.
Yes.
It's just a simple conversation. I think that's really what's missing in this world.
I think so too, because right now you watch CNN and everybody's yelling at each other all the time. And it's so aggressive. Fox, same thing. Well, I can't watch Fox, but anyways, I can't handle it.
Side of the coin, two different coins.
Exactly. 100%. 100%. But when I watch Trevor Noah interview people, I just really he's gifted enough and smart enough that he can insert himself when necessary, but he still is able to lean back and let his guests speak. Like, he doesn't need that spotlight. And I think that's amazing.
Let's talk about that for a second, because my first, I'd say, I'm approaching 100 shows of the POZcast, and the first 15 shows, I was kind of going on a whim, and I thought I knew how to do it. And then I worked with a media coach who's incredible. And, one of the core things she taught me was to listen, to sit back and let the guests talk. And the show's about them. It's not about you. And that was a game changer for me. So when anyone comes to me with advice, I mean, sure, on my show, I'm going to give my point of view on something, but I've also learned to temper that back and when to amp it up, when to bring it down. And once I started to do that, the audience got more engaged, right? And the guest audience that were there for them were more engaged with the show too. But at the same time, you need to know tricks as a host to kind of reel the guests in and to kind of shut them up every once in a while. That's hard. I did that to Meltzer. I stumped Dave Meltzer a couple of times, and he said to me after the show, he's like, no one's done that in a long time. And he goes, "Good job, man."
Yeah, for sure.
What are some tricks and tips you have when you're interviewing somebody to, keep it moving, and how do you know when to kind of reel them back in or let them keep going?
Right. And really it has to go, you have to make sure that if your guest is fascinating you with with the road they're bringing you down, let them go down, because you're not the only one who's fascinated, because your guest is watching too. And you're not your guest, but your audience is watching, and they're in with the story. If that guest is making you lean in, you're onto something. But when they start moving on a tangent, right? When they start going off, when you even feel yourself fidgeting, you have to commandeer that ship. You've got to bring them back. And I think, you know what, that is like, even if it's as abrupt as, you know what, that's an awesome topic, but definitely for another show. What I want to make sure that we cover today is this. So having those transitions to bring them back, even if it's a hard interrupt, your audience will really appreciate you for that.
Right. Cause you're minding the clock. You know, you're in charge of the clock too. I mean, I've had a couple of shows where, you know, I thought the show was going to go in one direction. I mean, I have it kind of bulleted out and everything, and it went in a completely other direction, and I let it go there because it was fascinating to me. And I felt like I was excited about it. That's the audience should be excited about it too. And I just kind of sat back and let it go. So Cher, I want to leave the audience here. I want to bring it home here. Not every day is, you know, sunshine and rainbows for any of us. And, you know, for Cher, you have your good days, you have your bad days. And, you know, when we're down at our lowest, we need something to pull us up. And, you know, when we're at our best and we're happy and life is amazing, to show gratitude. Cher, what is your North Star?
This is going to sound so cliche, but it is just leaning on God. I'm a Christian, and I just like really, it's like, especially over the last 6 months, I can really say that I've been leaning into that relationship and praying, and that's really where my strength has come from, and that confidence has come from, and just being able to know that I can leave it in his hands and I'm good. It allows me to navigate the day and really just, you know, depend on him for wisdom and stuff like that. So that's been my North Star, to be honest.
I absolutely love it. And last but not least, is there one piece of advice that you received in your life that you take action on every single day that's really been a cornerstone of your success professionally and personally?
Yeah, I actually have two.
You're allowed to 3 on the podcast, so 2 is
wow.
okay.
All right. So I have 2, and I actually say it to my clients and people all the time. Don't compare your start to somebody else's middle. And that has been something that has really been powerful for me, because that's transformational, because it's like you're not giving yourself a fighting chance if you're comparing yourself to somebody else who is way ahead of you, who might have different resources, access to different things. And it's just like, just compare your start in a month to your start. Do you know what I mean? Like just compare yourself to yourself. And it's easier said than done. Like I don't at all for a second sit back and say, yeah, that's easy, because it's not, because it's so hard not to look around, but it's sound advice.
I love it, Cher. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening. Where could folks find you? Where could they connect with you? Where could they learn more?
LinkedIn is your #1 spot. So just search Cher Jones on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram at It's Cher Jones, so ITS Cher Jones. And if you just search Cher Jones on YouTube, you'll catch all my my replays of Just Ask Cher Live that was on LinkedIn over on YouTube.
Awesome. Cher, thank you so much for spending time with us this evening and coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Take care, Cher.
Thank you. Thanks, Shaun. Thanks, Adam.
Bye, guys. Wow, we did it. We made it through another show, Shaun. What's your thoughts? I've been talking for a bit. What's Shaun's closing thoughts here?
Oh, that was awesome. Like, I think the cool thing about what we're doing here, man, is like, we're just trying it out. We're trying. You know, we're doing some different things. We're doing some things that people might not be doing, and it's fun. You know, we just get to kind of just be us, I feel like. In a lot of these other conversations that we have and all these other podcasts that we go on and we talk to, it's always about recruiting. It's always about business. It's all about all this other stuff that literally every single other person that has the title recruiter or talent acquisition, they're all doing the same shit. We just had our wives on and played the Newlywed Game
with Joe Exotic.
Like, who does that? You know what I mean? But there he is. He's haunting us.
I mean, it's great. If you can't have fun, then, like, you know, what's the point?
Right. And, you know, it's different and it's fun. And, you know, you and I built a really solid relationship over the past couple of years. So I'm glad that we're doing this.
It is fun. It is fun.
Right.
And listen, we're gonna poll the audience afterwards and see if we're gonna do it again. Maybe we'll come back in July with a summer edition here. But I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us for the last couple hours. I mean, I talk about it all the time. This has been keeping me sane and focused through this time, and I love having conversations and creating. I don't play music like Ben Goldsmith, right? Yep. I don't act like Joe Exotic. I can't do any of that stuff. That can make me the show pretty well.
By the way, like real impressive. like a lot of the things that he was playing pretty, standard chords, deviations of chords, but a lot of the little licks that he was doing in between while singing and playing, that's very hard to do. Like that's very hard.
He's talented.
Solid fine.
No, that was a great show tonight. So Shaun, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everyone that kind of hung out with us tonight. You know where to find us on the podcast. This will be up on YouTube as well. Please, spread the word, right? We put a lot of time and effort into this, and we really want to get it out there. So if you enjoyed the show, it would mean the world to us. I'm not going to be, whore myself out for likes and all that stuff. But if you do enjoy the show, please share it, please subscribe, please comment. It does mean a lot to us. I'll be back tomorrow, back on the daytime show at 1:00 Eastern time with Jeff Wald. And we're going to talk. Yeah, we're going to get back to talking shop. We're going to talk about the future of work. Will the bots take over for us? And next week, I have a big announcement. Next Tuesday at, I think it's at 1 p.m. Eastern time, the VP of Talent Acquisition for LinkedIn, Mr. Brendan Brown himself, aka DJ Blue. He'll be on, and it's going to be incredible. And we're really going to pull back the curtain on the LinkedIn itself talent acquisition process. That's real shit, folks. That's real content.
It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. And everyone joining us at home, thank you for joining us on the podcast. And please catch us next week for another great episode. Take care, everybody.